After Hours.
On this episode of the History of the Course After Hours podcast, we discuss the Canadian band known as Protest the Hero. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurviveByPro for news and the latest episode postings. Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Course After Hours podcast, where each and every episode I, Curtis, sit down with my good friend and avid listener to the History of the Course podcast, Erik. How's it going, Erik?
It's me,
Doing all right?
Erik.
Yeah, you doing all right, man?
Fantastic.
Good,
Wonderful.
man. Good. What you
Doing my,
representing?
Mario here.
Yeah, what you
we
repping
got
over there
some
today, man?
Dying wish here.
Wish. Is there like ketchup all over? That's weird looking.
It's like old school metalcore. It says dying wish inside the block letters that say dying wish.
Okay. Well, and I noticed that earlier when you first got on, but I started looking at it more. I was like, it's probably like, oh, it's blood. And I'm like, it looks more like ketchup. Did he spill ketchup on himself?
It's just a little.
It won't come out, man. Nice. Yeah, Dying Wish. It's a good band. It's a great band in Josh's standards. Yeah.
She
Check
puts
them
on
out.
a good show.
Who knows? Maybe they'll make it into the spotlight one of these days.
Maybe.
Wait, they haven't already been in your spotlight, have they?
Not
I can't
yet.
remember now.
Not yet.
We talk about so many bands, and then now throwing in the spotlight stuff. I can't keep up with all the different bands we've talked about or
Not to
mentioned.
mention all the little ones we just sprinkle in and mention. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just like, wait,
Yeah.
did we already talk about that guy? I know that me and Josh have already talked about this band, but you and we're just now getting around to it. We're talking about the little band known as Protest the Hero. All right, as always, Erik, start off each and every episode with two basic questions. First off, how were you introduced to the band known as Protest the Hero?
This is another one, and I think this is becoming a pretty common theme. I've been around the scene for a good many years at this point in my life. I've known this name for a long time, just never gave him a shot. Never had the time. I mean, there's only so many bands I can listen to in a day. It's unfortunate.
My
That's the way
schedule
the
is
world
filled.
works.
I'm sorry. See, you and I are a lot
Well,
like when I was younger, it's like I'd hear a lot of these names and it's just kind of like, I'll get around to it, and then you never do.
And then you play
Yeah.
Silverstein one more time.
Yeah, then you're like, I'm really busy with my Silverstein catalog here, man, that I've heard about a million times, but I got to hear it 1,000,001.
Today's a new day. Got to hear it at least once.
Exactly. Got to refresh my memory. How did that song go again? Oh, yes, that's it. That's how it is. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yes, every time. Wonderful.
So it was one of those bands that you'd heard of, but you never really got into until this, right? So we talked about it.
I did listen to every last jot and little thing they've written, but at least that I could find anyway. You know how that goes too.
We'll talk about it, but did you listen to, of course you listen to all the regular albums. Did you listen to any like the instrumental?
I did dive a little bit into those. I didn't get 100% on every single one of them, but
Yeah.
I did a little bit on, I think I got one written down for you later on here, but
That's fine. Yeah. Like I said, we'll talk about it more. Okay. So you've heard the discography. How would you, Erik, describe Protest the Hero to a brand new listener?
vocally, definitely old school, like a updated Iron Maiden or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of bands like, now don't crucify me yet, but like Greta Van Fleet or Beast in Black, how they're a newer band, but they've got an old school sound to them. You know, like Greta Van Fleet's your Led Zeppelin style kind of
Yeah, I
sound
was
going
supposed to say
on.
that's yeah.
And that's just the kind of band that comes to mind when I hear this. It's like it's not quite as like straight rip like Greta Van Fleet is,
Yeah.
but it kind of feels like this could be just like Iron Maiden continued almost at a certain point.
Whatever
That's
happened
sort
to
of
Greta Van Fleet? Are they still playing?
I looked them up when I wrote this down. I was like, haven't heard from them in a long time. And it looks like they've been putting out music somewhat consistently. I didn't see what their newest album was, but what was it, 2016 when they first came out and
That's
everybody's head exploded. Yeah,
yeah.
they've done a couple since then at least.
Okay. Yeah, because I was about to say I remember when they popped on the scene, it was just like everybody couldn't get enough. And I remember thinking,
Oh yeah,
this is just modern Led Zeppelin. I mean, come
right.
on, people.
Can we just go back
So
to old Zeppelin? I mean,
yeah, I'm just gonna go over here and listen to old Zeppelin. You can do that over there, but I'm gonna be over here. Yeah. Um, yeah, me and Josh kind of described it as party metal at times, especially their
a little
live
bit.
stuff. If you watch any of their live performances, they're pretty loose and loosey goosey about everything. Um, me and Josh had a hard time really like, oh, I mean, we'll talk about something here in just a moment if that was a big um, bullet point on the original episodes here in this next question, but we're just not we're both not really big fans of this band overall. I don't know how you feel. We'll get more of your thoughts on, albums and such like
Oh,
that
we'll
here in
get
a little
into it.
bit. Um, but me and Josh both kind of like we figured out, it's like this is not for us, but this band knows what they are and they accept it and they roll with it, you know. Um, yeah, let's talk about some of these things that me and Josh have talked about a little bit, and we're making big points of it in the original episodes.
Before you go too far, I did want to
Yeah,
say
go for it.
later albums. I had forgotten that I wrote this. Do you have little sparks of things like My Chemical Romance? Because he has
Okay.
more of those low register kind of cleans, still raw, still edgy, whatever you want to call that, but kind of, like I said, just a little bit lower register from where he was.
And yeah, and I wonder if that has to do because he had vocal
The
surgery
throat surgery,
later on. Yeah, so I'm sure that had something to do with it too. Whether it's something from the surgery that which is probably more than likely what it is, or maybe it's just kind of like a mental thing too, where it's like I don't want to go too high here because I don't want to re-injure my voice. Maybe a combo. I
rip
don't
out my
know.
vocal cords again.
Yeah, I don't want the Sonny Moore treatment here two or
Right.
three times worth. Ugh. Oh gosh. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the episode. Did you see we're recording this on July 21st, 2024. Did you see that 2 days ago From First to Last dropped a new single on
I did see
Spotify?
that, but I have not graced or disgraced my ears with it yet.
You could disgrace yourself. I, it's one of those where it's like I listened to it and I thought to myself, why are we still a band? What are we doing here?
Is
Why? Well,
Sonny
let me
back
back.
with them again?
No,
I
it's
mean,
just
I don't
three
even
of
know.
them.
Okay,
No, so it's Matt
that's
Good
even
doing
more
the
confusing.
vocals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like in my mind, I'm thinking like not a fact of like why are we still a band? It's just like why are we still under From First to Last name? We talked about it in that episode, and with other bands too. It's like just go start all over, man. Like
Right.
seriously, because
You
you're
all
just
have
like
made your
making
name.
things worse.
Go fly.
Yeah, this is just go listen to it. I wouldn't mind hearing your opinion on it either, but it was a disgrace to my ears. I'll say that. Okay, anyway, back to the original episode here. Protest the hero. Okay, so how are you feeling about the lyrics of their discography? Because, for Josh, this was really a deal breaker for him. We both agreed, musically, they're on point, man. The lyrics, eh, that's your
Eh?
cue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The word I wrote down just very simply is interesting.
Okay. I could
Because
go
they're
one of two
interesting.
ways.
It is interesting. It is both ways, really.
Okay.
It's can be seemingly very random at times, uh, almost like he's telling a story, but I'm missing the first part of the story.
Right.
Like I
Like I
I
jumped
chimed
right
in
in the middle of a sentence. Yeah.
right. Well, not even that. I jumped in the middle of season 2, and I don't know what happened
There you go.
season 1, much less half of season 2, and I'm going, "What have I done? And where am
Yeah.
I? Where are they? What's this?"
Who is
And
that guy?
that's kinda
Why is
what
he
it
talking
feels
so
like a
much?
lot of times.
Yeah.
I know they got these grand concept well, grand-ish concept, a girl in prison. Very grand, I suppose.
It's a situational requiem, Eric. Say it right, man.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, if you say
Oh
so.
man.
But, anyway, yeah, they're interesting, and there's some that's good out of it, but most of it's pretty odd. It's very
You
linear. I heard one person put it that way. It's very linear. It's not conversational like a lot of
yeah.
good bands. You feel like it kind of bounces back and forth, and you could almost talk back and forth with it even. It's very linear, and it goes, point A to point B, and we might not know where in the world it is, but they just go there. So I don't know.
Or more of just like you see it's like the picture and it's just point B and it's just like a line coming. It's like, what? Where's A? Where's A at? It's not in the
That
picture here.
sometimes, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I one of the things I remember saying to Josh was I feel like sometimes with these bands that their music is like on the technical side, I almost feel like the lyricist kind of feels like I gotta match that. So I gotta drop in like a bunch of these like crazy and like intellectual lines in my lyrics, and it's just like just doesn't play too well because I'm with you too. It's like I'm so confused about what is happening right now in this song.
Well, it's
But
like you look at a kind of somewhat similar band. Again, don't crucify me in the comment section, or if you want to, go ahead. I'm here for it. But Dance Gavin Dance is somewhat similar in the fact that they kind of have a higher register vocalist. They
mm,
also have very technical guitars and instrumental section in general. But a lot of times their lyrics are absolute nonsense on purpose.
yeah.
Uh, what was it? Pico de gallo, tomato piece of crap. What in the world are we talking about?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Well, one of the things too with this band is not at the same time. Well, maybe at the same time at one point you got two people contributing, but over their discography, there's basically one lyricist in the beginning, and then he leaves the band, and now you've got the main vocalist doing all the lyrics. And you can kind of tell that change when you start looking at the lyrics. And so their bassist was doing like basically their first half in their discography, and that's where I feel like it was really kind of like all over the place and everything. And it felt a little more simple in the second half with their vocalist doing the lyrics. But then I even remember Josh saying that at times it felt like way too simple. Like what are we doing, man? I mean, put a little effort into it or something. So, and that's why I got to the point where I decided, hey, instrumental tracks, I'm just gonna listen to those for the rest of the episode. So, yeah. Okay, got a trivia question here for you, Eric. I think this is the one and only one. Yep, the one and only one for this episode. So here we go. This band actually started in 1999 under what original name?
Aha! I know this one. It is
Okay.
Happy Go Lucky.
Oh, dang. Okay. Okay. Nice, man. Didn't even have to think about it. He just like bam
I
right off the
didn't.
top of it.
I knew that one
Nice.
because I think that's
Very
just a
nice.
fun, interesting name. It does not fit their style of music, and I'm glad
No.
they changed that name.
Yes.
But it's a cool, fun name
It's
for
it's yeah.
something else, maybe like a punk band or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, not for them. But it
It's
just
probably
that's
one
what
of
caught me. I was like, what?
yeah,
That sounds really strange for that kind of music.
probably one of the better original names, working titles or whatever that we've talked about with bands so far in this podcast. But having a discography that spans from 2004's Kazaya, which in Canadian terms is a situational requiem. That's how they describe it. Those hosers, you know. Just say concept, you know. Come on, people. All the way to their most recent album, 2020's Palimpsest, with plenty of member departures, the changing of lyricists, and even the loss of unclean vocals for more cleans. How do you, Eric, feel about their discography as a whole?
I did like I normally try to do with these, not knowing a lot of their music. I try to listen to it in order. So, one, two, three, four, straight across
Right.
the board. Nothing felt too jarring. Like, that we've talked about some bands here that go from, their starting album, they might, kind of grow on that, expand on it, and they take a hard left turn out into right field, and we're going, uh, what just happened here? This is not anywhere near the same band. I never felt that with this. So I give them
And
props for that, especially over
yeah,
a good long stretch that they had.
I think you can contribute that to the music side, to be
Right.
honest with you, because the music stays consistent throughout their discography.
Right.
It's more if you want to look for any change, I feel like it's more in the vocals where kind of like what I said, it's like you gotta go from more of like a 50-50 split of clean to uncleans at the beginning to, almost like 90, well, almost 100 by the end of it or by a recent um, album. But and then lyrics too, and the surgery and so on and so forth. Anyway, carry on.
Right. Well, basically fluid. That's the word I was looking for. They're very
Yeah.
fluid. It just kind of flows one into the next, into the next. Even with his vocals, there's definitely change. If you look at the first and the last albums, absolutely, it is a day and night type difference.
Oh yeah.
But if you're going in order and you go, all the way up there and you're like, that wasn't, shaking my core like, oh, what just happened? Left turn. It was all pretty smooth and fluid throughout the discography anyway. Because I mean, you think about what have they been a band for 2 decades now? Yeah,
Basically, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Even under the working title, it's been
Right.
25
We'll
years. That
count that
hurts my
too.
soul a
Yeah.
little bit. But anyway,
We're not
yeah,
young
I mean, just
anymore, man.
we're not. It hurts me a little on the
It's hard.
inside.
It's hard to think about it, but we are both in our 30s. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew we'd make it? Woohoo! But anyway, yeah, the big difference throughout all of the time moving on is the vocals. There's a growing period because they started out when they were young. I mean, they were little fellas,
Well, kids,
um,
yeah.
teeny boppers. I mean,
Teen bops.
to the point of growing into their early 20s and on into now that however they are. But you can definitely feel his voice grows with that. And then there's the surgeries and everything like that in there as well. Because there does come a point where I personally like the squeak in his voice leaves, and that tends to be a little bit better spot for me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
because I will,
Okay.
the first couple albums do have a bit of a squeak to him, and I probably attribute that to his age being very, very young,
Youth, yeah.
and it just the crackle, the squeak. Like I said, it's not even like a whiny sound. Like
Rubber
think
ducky.
of. I was going to say Chiodos, but that's one of those that just never did it for me because there was a bit of a whine to it,
Yeah.
and I wasn't really here for it. But this one, like I said, it's not whiny; it's like squeaky.
Okay.
I don't know if rubber ducky squeaky, but you know what I'm saying.
Little kid shoes squeaky.
Oh man, maybe a little bit. That's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I get what
It's
you're
fun
saying
for a
though.
minute, but
You're like,
yeah, that would
hey,
annoy me.
yeah.
Kid, go change your
Okay.
shoes. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Does that kid not have a extra pair of shoes with him? Maybe be nice if he could change those. So their, I believe, fourth album. See, because yeah, I believe it would be their fourth album. Volition was actually crowdfunded. Have you ever contributed, Eric, to a band's album fundraiser before?
I personally have not in that way.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously going to a show or whatever that could be one way. But yes, specifically, hey, we're making an album, you can contribute to, the production uh uh payment, da 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 da, whatever on this, fundraiser site. Um what's some of the like Indiegogo or something like that? Of course, um dang, what's some of the ones that are out there now? I can't think of what's called. What's the big one? I don't know. Anyway, my point is,
I don't beg
so
for money on the internet. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, you have not, I haven't either. I don't know about Josh. But give us your feelings, your personal feelings on the fundraiser use by some bands. Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you kind of like, what?
I mean, I kind of get it, but for me, I'd prefer something, that I can hold while supporting the band. Say if I bought this T-shirt, for example. I mean, Dying Wish might come out and say, "Hey, we're about to come out with a new album, and all of this T-shirt is going to go for, say, studio time for that new album." Yeah, I'm going to buy that shirt instead of this shirt over here or something. Uh, Not to say that shirt did come from that, but my example.
T-shirt
That's kind of
idea though. Yeah,
yeah.
T-shirt
I mean,
idea for
shirt,
you.
whether it be a sticker or
Right.
anything like that. I want something I can hold in my hand. Because generally speaking, I can go. I helped a band with that. I can't just look at my
Yeah.
bank account and go, that negative $20 there. That helped that band. That felt good. Yeah.
So
I'm not
like
going
I'm
to
gonna
take a
take
screenshot, put it online.
right. I'm gonna take your shirt for example. Is there anything on the back?
Yes.
Okay. Well, forget that there's anything on the back. Just Dying Wish on the front, right? That's it.
Yes.
Okay. So Dying Wish on the back, it should say this purchase helps fund, such and such album. That way, if like you caught a band like that early on, and then
Right.
they dropped like a huge album, you'd be like, "Yeah, I supported it. This shirt right here made that album, man." I think it would be kind
See,
of cool.
I'm the coolest.
Yeah,
See?
I think it'd be kind of a cool idea
Yeah.
for a band to do that, especially if you're up and coming. But
Right. I mean, even do posters because posters are super cheap to
yeah,
make, and you can make a good profit off of those. Throw posters and stickers out there and say these are, like you said, with the
contributing. Yeah,
this help contribute to XYZ album. Yeah.
right.
So
Yep, I agree.
100%, I agree.
Yeah, this thing, I'm okay with it.
Like I said, I get it, but I just don't
Yeah.
prefer it.
Well, the problem that me and Josh had with it on the original episode is, this is what I got. It's like
There's that
it's
too.
like, oh man, this better be a great album, man, because my money is
It was
directly
not
going to this, man.
right. It was not a Now Foamy or oh, what are those others from Oh Sleeper?
Oh, the EP,
The ones that,
Titan
yeah, the ones
Titan
they named the
EP.
guys after. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the first song off that album they named off the highest contributor or whatever like that.
Right.
I don't even
It
remember
was
what it
like
was
Now
called.
Foamy something.
Something, yeah. Is
Not
some like
a
Asian name.
not a name I'm used to. Yeah,
It was not Bob Joe,
it was not,
although that would be an
certainly.
interesting opening track. It's from our new EP Titan. It's called Bob Joe. All right, let's do this. Let's highlight a couple of album covers here for a moment, Eric. Specifically, Volition, which features, in Josh's own words, steampunk vultures. By the way, I am copywriting that band name right now. And then we also have Pacific Myth, which features some manta rays in space. I'm also copywriting that band name right now. So Steampunk Vultures, opening with manta rays in space, coming soon to you. What in the world is going on with these two album artworks there?
I like Pacific Myth actually quite the album artwork anyway, quite a bit.
Hmm.
Those giant manta rays, saying, "See you. I don't want to be on this planet anymore." And I mean, that could make a lot of different statements too if you
Nice.
want to get into the
That's true. I
stuff
didn't
going
think
on in the
about
world.
that. Yeah.
But just generally speaking, it's really cool artwork. I remember showing my age here. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, you'd get one of those folders that had the really cool, like, underwater sea things with
Ah,
dolphins and cool looking fish
oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Kind of made me think of that, only like on another level, like
Okay.
even so much cooler. Um, Now, Volition, the front of it almost made me think of it's like a side profile of the Bionic Bird.
Hmm.
Almost made me think of, vote for me, the Bionic Bird.
Yeah, got like a
I don't know.
presidential poster
I
or
don't know why
something.
that
Yeah.
just caught me, but
Okay.
it was like, just the
I can
profile.
see that. Hello. Yeah. He's
Now
got my vote.
the alternate art though, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah,
That's
the one that I was going to ask you about that. The one that me and Josh talked about. What is
yeah.
happening? What is going
I don't want to
on?
talk about what's happening.
And why is she letting them do that? I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't. You don't see the manta rays doing that. Well, I don't know. I didn't see if there was an alternate artwork
The
of
manta
Pacific
rays
Myth. Maybe
saw
the
what
manta rays
happened
are
with
doing
the
some. They're,
vultures,
they're like, we're
and they said,
out.
"I'm out of here.
Get out. We're getting out of here, man.
It's enough of that."
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. But yeah, be
Right.
on the lookout for a tour coming to a town near you. Steampunk Vultures featuring manta rays in space. Gonna be a great time.
Woohoo!
Okay. Final question here for you, Eric. Could, or more importantly, should this band turn into a post rock slash post metal band?
They probably should have from the start, to be honest. Now, they could say from here they could move full instrumental. I would definitely give that a shot because their musical section is on point. It is
Right.
wonderful. I definitely listened to some that they released. I don't feel like they're bad, but I think me and you have talked about it before where if it wasn't made to be an instrumental, there's sometimes voids, there's little spots that, meant to have vocals in them. And this does. It's meant to be sung, whatever song with it. Um, I don't know. I would like I said, if they could actually make something that was legitimately made for
Specifically.
instrumental only, right? Give me post rock only, not no design around any kind of lyrics. I'd be here for it, to be honest, because this is a really good sounding musical section.
As they kind of give me like I don't know if I want to say darker, but they give me some like Strawberry Girl vibes. And it's that technical side to them, kind of, especially
Right.
specifically guitars, you know.
I didn't write it down, so I forgot. But actually, I was looking at different things that they could be, and they're considered a lot of different things. Uh, Bringing up Strawberry Girls, Dance Gavin Dance, those guys, you could almost slide these guys into what's called swancore.
Swancore.
I don't know if you've
Yes,
heard of
we
that or not.
we have heard this before. Tell us though, Eric.
Oh,
Tell us
good,
a little
good.
more about
So
Swancore.
you see, swancore is it originated basically Blue Swan Records, I believe is what it was, and all the bands that they kind of did, but it's like math rocky, higher registered vocals, um, what some people might call squeaky or whiny, you know, whatever you want to
Rubber
call
Ducky
that.
Core.
Yeah, there you go. Just that higher register though, rather than, you think about your I don't know, your Ghost Insides and guys like that, they're grrr real doop doop, you know. No, we're on a higher register by far.
Yeah.
And then with some very technical guitars and like I said, kind of math rocky elements. I wouldn't say they're math rock, but they do have some weird time signatures. So I could almost slide them in on the side of, you know, some of that Swan core. But anyway,
Okay. Okay.
just as a side note there.
Yeah. I think yeah, we've talked about it before. And like you said, we're both in agreement. I always go back to Fall of Troy, their OK album, where they did like 4 or 5 different versions for whatever reason. I mean, it's called Cat's Grass. But anyway, they did that instrumental version. Um, and it was just so hard to listen to it because it just sounded so empty without those vocals. And I think when I went and listened to the instrumentals on Protest the Hero, it was a little easier because I did it on, I guess it starts Pacific Myth and then their last one, Palimpsest. And so it was a lot easier for me to do that and enjoy it because I had never heard, with the actual vocals in it. And I'm not going to start now. So to me, those are two instrumental albums now. But yeah, I'm with you in what you're saying too. Like you're saying, we both agree of it's got to be meant to be, instrumental to really work out. So it would be kind of cool if they at least just like an album be like, hey, this next one we're gonna do just instrumentals, with the
Right.
intent of doing it that way. But all right, we
I
are
did
at
say I looked it up.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, it kind of goes into the favorites as well a little bit, but
Okay.
Limb from Limb, I actually saved from the instrumental part.
Mm,
That song hits so hard with and without lyrics, to be honest. Now, this is still in that section where his voice gives me a little bit of the squeakiness,
mhm.
but even without lyrics, that song hits so hard and it comes in. I think that's the one that has a little bit of a bass solo, then it jumps into the keyboards, which are
I
almost a
think
little
so,
Nintendo
yeah.
core.
That's
I mean,
yeah, and that's what I told
that is
Josh.
a
I was like,
really
is that
good
a
song.
keyboard or what is that? Yeah,
That's
because it
somebody's
sounded
Nintendo.
like
We playing games.
yeah, that sounded like almost 8-bit, and then it took us down a rabbit hole of like Nintendo Core. Remember, of course we were talking about Horse the Band, stuff like that. But
Mhm.
do you remember a band when we were both in high school, 1,000 Dead Rabbits or
Yes,
100 Dead
yes, I
Rabbits?
do.
Yeah, we started talking about that. Yeah, we went down a hole with that one. But
Yep, that one's on a couple of my lists. Yeah.
oh, okay, nice. All right, well, we are at the end of the episode here, and as always, we like to finish out with Eric's favorites: albums, songs, lyrics, riffs, artwork, so on and so forth. Take it away, Eric.
Well, I'll look at their dead rabbits later. So
Ah, they're not going anywhere.
we
They're dead.
have that is kind of true. So favorite album. This one probably up for some hot debate. I went for the one that I liked the voice the best on because, again, going back to the musical section, I don't think we got a problem across the board. But
No.
if you were going to, as most normal people seem to do, go for an album that has lyrics and vocalists, I tend to like Volition probably the best.
Okay.
Just the sound is there better for me.
Okay.
His voice has grown to a point where it's no longer squeaky. It's just a little bit more smooth in that, even in that higher register, which he has. Not that he's untalented. Don't get me wrong about any of that. He's not
No, no, no,
untalented.
no.
It's just not for me.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I get that out
I
there. I'm not just saying that dude's terrible and he needs to go home and forget about his life and
no, no,
change
no, no.
jobs. No, 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 not at all. Not at all.
No, we've got episodes for that coming
But
up, so
oh
don't
boy.
worry.
But no, he is talented. It's just not for me. It's just not my style. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. And sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it fits the music either. I've said that before with different female vocalists where she's almost singing operatically and there's, you know, chug-a-lugging death metal or something going on behind her. And it's like,
Yeah, it's like what? What
I'm
is
so
happening?
lost. What's going on? That's such a beautiful voice and then such a chug-a-luggy what I don't know. But anyway, it's almost like that to a point where it's not exactly meshing for me. So
Okay.
anyway, but Volition probably does best at that mesh.
Okay.
That's pretty much why I picked that one. So anyway, getting into the favorite lyrics. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Because every
I'm
band
ready
needs
to
a
be
good song about.
I'm ready to be confused. What's happening?
e- Every band needs a song about more cancer, right? Because that's what we
Oh
need.
gosh, yes. It's what we need, man. We need more songs about cancer because we don't already know about it. Oh my gosh.
So I like the way that he put this, but it is a little on the nose. And this comes from Tandem from Skrilleus. I think that's how you
Yeah,
say that.
correct.
I don't know.
Yep, correct. No,
I was
you're
pretty
good.
close, but
You're good. That was right.
sweet. So everyone knows that cancer takes bites out of every family and eats up families whole. Dance around the issue, take issue with the answer provided. Again, it is a
That's
little on the
very on
nose,
nose. You're
But I
telling me
do
what you're
kind of like
talking
the way
about.
I do like the way he put it on that. Cancer as something that eats, it takes bite out of the families, it eats up whole
Yeah,
families whole. I kind of like that picture he's drawing for me there. It's not as on the nose as others, but it
others,
is
yeah.
still rather right there. Now, the next one I will say, this one comes from Volition. It's the song Clarity.
Okay.
And the only reason I like this one, because I enjoy myself a Star Wars reference,
Okay.
intentional or not. And
Nerd.
it says, I don't care who shot first or the song and dance you've rehearsed. Talk about Han Solo, it sounds like to me. I don't care who shot
Okay.
first.
Okay. Okay. I didn't get it,
I like
but
a Star Wars reference. That's been the debate since 1970, whatever, when Star Wars come out is, well, who shot first? Was it the alien in the other chair there across from him, or was it
Mm,
Han who shot first? And it's up for
okay.
debate.
Okay. Did you have you seen the newest three movies?
I'm just going to say yes.
Okay.
I won't put my
Okay. No,
thought
no, no,
process
no.
on that.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna assume that we're both on the same page. So,
We could have done better. That's all I'll say.
and I think George Lucas is with us too. Just like, if
Unfortunately,
I remember
yeah.
correctly. Okay, anyway,
So,
carry on.
so favorite songs. You ready for number 3?
Number three.
I went with Blood Meat from Fortress.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. It's probably my all-time favorite.
I could not deny the energy in that one. Now, like I said before,
Oh,
the voice is not my cup of tea, but there is a great energy in this one. I do enjoy
yes.
it.
Yes. And nice history to it too.
It
A
does. It has
history
some pretty cool
lesson.
history in there. The history of the course podcast.
There you go. There you go. Number two.
Going with off of Volition here, Clarity.
Shocking.
Wow.
Nice.
Now this one will definitely shock you. Ready?
Number one.
Coming from both Volition again. Oh.
Oh,
Without Prejudice.
okay. Okay.
It's
Okay.
a little bit repetitive, but it's catchy. And it caught me. That's all I got for that.
No, I got you, man. Eric likes him some steampunk vultures. It's a good band. It's a good band. What kind of music do you hear when you hear that? Or what kind of music do you think of when you hear that name?
Steampunk Vultures. I th-
Steampunk? Punk?
well, I mean, you could do punk. That's a little on the nose, but we could do
Yeah.
punk. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Almost want to evolve from the punk a little bit and maybe even go into the technical side of things.
Okay.
And whether you do technical metal, you do math rock, something that's really technical like that.
Okay. What about manta rays in space? What do you assume that sounds like?
Gent.
Was not expecting that one. All right. Final thoughts on the band known as Protest the Hero, Eric.
Final thought is it's not a bad sound, kind of old school vocals, very energetic instrumentation. I definitely will go back and check out a little bit deeper into the instrumentals. Like I said, I found a couple of good ones, uh, but I'll probably leave the rest alone as a whole. Just that his vocals are just not my flavor. If they're
Right.
for you, good, go for it. There's a whole bunch here that you can go into, and I would suggest to you dig out some Swancore while you're at it. Go for it. I mean, that's your thing. Go for it. There's like 3 songs total of Dance Gavin Dance that I enjoy. If that's your
Really?
deal,
Okay.
do
Okay.
it. That's
Okay.
probably about all I really like.
For some reason I thought you really did like him. But yeah.
About 3 songs, yeah.
Okay. I haven't done like a big deep dive. I've heard more of like songs and like
They do
passing
have
like
a lot. So I've only listened to about I think 3 or 4 albums total.
yeah. I don't
Now,
know.
considering what do they have, like 8 or something ridiculous? I mean, there's
Something
almost as big
crazy.
as Sao. I mean, that's a bunch.
Do you know
But
who
yeah,
they don't have that vocalist anymore. I don't remember what his name is, but I don't know. And I think they
again, with
put out
such a long
something.
history, it's hard to tell.
Well, I think they put something else out, and I don't know who's doing like the vocals, like clean vocals now, but
Mm.
I don't know. New song from this year's Speed Demon. I
Oh
don't know.
boy.
I'm gonna have to figure out who's doing vocals now. But anyway, yeah, I've always heard songs like, you're listening to an album on Spotify, it ends, and it just kind of goes into shuffle or whatever. So that's
Right.
usually when I hear stuff. And the ones that I've heard, I've enjoyed. I'm kind of like you, is like I'm not really high on the high vocals like that, but
Right.
but it's
Well, there
I
comes a
do
point
like the
where
uncleans though.
Josh talked a lot. Right, right. Josh talked a lot about like Seosin and stuff like that. I do like me some Seosin. I never was a big fan of like Chiodos or Ludo, even. I would kind of throw in there a little bit. He's a little bit on the lower comparatively, but
Circus Survive.
those guys, well, that's Seosin. But
No, that's Anthony Green.
that's Seosin, the same guy. But anyway, yeah, they are melded. They're one and the same.
I'm gonna give you some props here real quick. That EP, that first EP by Seosin, you introduced me to Seosin via that EP. To
What was it,
this
the
day,
Gray
I don't
EP?
even know. It's the is it 7 years
The
EP?
early one.
Yeah, it's
Oh
the,
yeah, the
it's the
early
first
one.
one with
Yeah.
with Anthony Green. I don't remember how that was back in high school, I think, when you showed me that. But
Probably, yeah.
to this day, dude, I still consider that one of the greatest EPs I've ever heard, man. 5 songs, they all are so good. They all hit so good. That was just a good like chemistry at the time for Seos, and I feel like. And I was really
Oh yeah.
disappointed when like he left. And I was like, oh man, if they could have just like continued doing that, I would have really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed when he came back and did their wherever their last album was, at 2016, I think.
2016, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, but it didn't hit the same, as the original EP. I was like, man, 7 years EP was so good, bro. But yeah, to this
Yeah, it
day, I
was.
still consider that as like one of my all-time favorite EPs. So thank you, Eric, for introducing me to
You're
that.
quite welcome.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well. Oh, there was a burp. Do you have the History of the Cores podcast, where me and Josh take a look at the band from from the core genre. Cheers. Now there's a ringing in my ear. Yeah, we take a look at the history and discography of a band from the core genre. You also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons, and sooner or later we'll come back around and cover a movie when it comes out of the Peaky Blinders. And we also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which has covered season 1, currently season 2 of HBO's House of the Dragon. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us, see our smiling faces, pause for dramatic effect, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived By Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video. Alrighty, till the next episode where we're talking about the band known as Seven Angels, Seven Plagues. We'll see ya.